The Viltrum Empire is the biggest threat in the Invincible series, and all the Viltrumites are an incredibly powerful species, representing the strongest characters in the universe, including Invincible, Omni-Man, and some much more powerful characters too. And today we're going to rank each and every Viltrumite from weakest to strongest. So let's get to it. Marky Murphy is the son of Mark and the Viltrumite warrior Anissa. Now, unlike his mom, Marky isn't a villain. In fact, he's set to be Kid Invincible one day. But since he is still just a kid, he hasn't quite reached his full potential. Tara Grayson is the daughter of Adam Eve and Mark Grayson, making her also Omni-Man's granddaughter. With that kind of lineage, she's destined to be incredibly powerful and is set to one day even become invincible herself. However, she's still just a kid, and like her dad at her age, her powers haven't shown up just yet, seeing a common theme between the two of them. But this is the last of the kid Viltrumites. Now we can get into the more heavy hitters. Now, I want to talk about the evil Invincibles, but the problem is there are quite a few of them, and a lot of them don't do a whole lot. So I'm just going to talk about a few main ones, and I mean it's really just Mohawk Mark and Sinister Mark. Everyone else is ultimately a little bit anticlimactic. And the scaling is just all over the place too. Robert Kirkman has said before that he doesn't really care that much about power scaling, he just wants to tell a good story. And good for him, I think that's awesome. But it definitely shows, in the sense that like this Invincible claims to have killed his dad Omni-Man and put on his suit, and then dies because he was strangled by a yo-yo. This Invincible claims that he had already killed Spawn, and then we never really see anything from him again and he dies. Now, some Invincibles were able to defeat the Guardians of the Globe, others were killed by Reaniman or Rexplode, RIP, but like I said, really want to focus on Sinister Mark and Mohawk Mark. Sinister Mark really lives up to his name. He's from a dimension where pretty much everyone is evil and sinister, so he just fits right on in. He's wrecked shop in the mainstream universe during the Invincible War. Then he tried to turn against Angstrom, and that's when things got really dark. Trapped in a universe with no food or water, well, Sinister Mark decided that the only thing left to do is resort to cannibalism, and literally ate all the remaining marks. In the process, well, he went a little crazy, was eventually taken out by Invincible and Mohawk Mark. Mohawk Mark definitely got the most time out of all the evil Invincible counterparts. He's fought against Invincible before, and then teamed up with Invincible in order to take down Sinister Mark, then actually successfully defeated Angstrom Levy himself. Mohawk Mark then returned to his dimension where he ruled supreme and would have continued ruling forever if Robot hadn't shown up and taken him out. Lucan was one of the Viltrumites who attacked Omni-Man on the planet Thraxa, but while he was initially rather easily dealt with, Lucan eventually got his in the end. But while a pretty powerful Viltrumite himself, like fighting against Nolan and Alan the Alien, he still isn't the strongest Viltrumite out there, not by a long shot. Onan is one of Thrag's many Viltrumite Thraxan sons, and is the twin brother of Ursel. He was fiercely loyal to his father Thrag, before he ended up being killed by Invincible. Ursel, Onan's twin sister, is another one of the Viltrumite Thraxan daughters of Thrag. While she started out as loyal to her father as well, Ursel began to realize that Thrag didn't really care about his children. So after Thrag's defeat, she and her siblings ended up submitting to Invincible's rule. Oliver Grayson is the son of Omni-Man and the alien half-brother of Invincible. He's a Thraxan, an alien race that matures much faster than humans, and has a way shorter lifespan. But Omni-Man's Viltrumite DNA managed to slow down his aging and gave him some incredible powers on top of that. I'm talking superhuman strength, speed, durability, just like every other Viltrumite out there. But Oliver's Thraxan DNA does ultimately hold him back, and he doesn't have quite the same potential as Invincible himself. Thula is a fierce member of the Viltrumites, and a lot like Medusa with the Inhumans, is known for her signature long hair that she whips around like a weapon. She's one of the Viltrumites who attacked Nolan on Thraxa. She fought incredibly hard in the war against the coalition of planets, and she's even been able to fight with Battle Beast. Craig is the Viltrumite who gave Invincible the task of conquering the Earth, although obviously Mark didn't listen. He's second in command in the Empire, directly behind Thrag himself, but like a lot of other Viltrumites, would eventually join up with Omni-Man after his rise to power. Thaddeus is the founder of the Coalition of Planets, the planets standing up against the Viltrum Empire, but secretly, he's actually a Viltrumite himself. He's been working in secret for years in order to try and defend the cosmos from the Viltrumites. Thaddeus was the kind of character who could pose a serious problem to any fighter out there. I mean, he teamed up with Omni-Man and Invincible and freaking destroyed a planet. Okay, sure, he wasn't able to defeat Thrag, he simply wasn't that strong anymore and old age got to him. But he was still a force to be reckoned with. Anissa was the Viltrumite who was sent to Earth in an attempt to kinda trick or seduce Mark and get Mark to help the Viltrumite Empire take over the planet. After her rejection, though, obviously Mark isn't going to turn on the Earth, well, she becomes a bit angry, and later she even forcibly sleeps with him in order to have a kid. 5 years later, though, well, Anissa is a changed woman. She's married to a human herself, gone on to have a daughter, and is raising her and Mark's son, Marky. And later, she even goes on to defend the Earth and sacrifice herself to save Mark and Eve, proving just how powerful a Viltrumite warrior she really is. I don't think I've ever seen a more brutal or bloody fighter than Conquest. It's a whole different ballgame when he shows up in the Invincible comic. With a nasty scar across his face and a sick robot arm, Conquest has definitely been in his fair share of fights and won. He's probably the most experienced warrior in the entire Viltrum Empire. He's even older than Omni-Man, and he definitely managed to show Invincible what true power was during their first fight. But somehow, some way, with the help of Adam Eve, well, Invincible pulled off the victory. Didn't stop Conquest though. He busted out of a prison made out of 400 tons of steel that Cecil was stupid enough to trap him in just a few days later. Then he went on to have a rematch with Invincible that nearly killed Mark all over again. Ultimately, Invincible managed to win their fight, but it was so close that one wrong move, it could have easily gone in Conquest's favor. Omni-Man definitely wasn't the peaceful protector of Earth that he always pretended to be, and really proved that by nearly killing his son and destroying cities in the process. During that fight, well, there was a whole lot of power at play. Even the very first punch thrown sent skyscrapers cracking in half, left thousands dead. Omni-Man would go on to only further demonstrate his power and superiority over most other Viltrumites, sometimes taking on 2 or 3 at the same time without going down. And on top of that, for most of the series, till the very end, Omni-Man was much stronger and faster than Invincible, constantly providing a higher bar for Mark to constantly strive towards. You can argue that Conquest is more powerful than Omni-Man, but in my mind, Invincible successfully defeating Conquest twice and doing it before he actually got truly more powerful just paints Conquest In a little bit of a lower light, it makes me think that Omni-Man is more powerful. Without question, Grand Regent Thrag is one of the strongest Viltrumites in the entire series. Claiming rule over all his people, the Viltrumite's philosophy of survival of the fittest and might makes right really speaks to just how strong Thrag had to be in order to rule Viltrum. And Thrag has definitely proven time and again why he's one of the strongest beings in the galaxy. Other Viltrumites can hurt their hands just by punching him, and Thrag fought Battle Beast for days, despite starting the fight with some pretty severe injuries. On 3 different occasions, he beat Omni-Man nearly to death, all while coming out of the fight relatively unscathed. In the end, even Invincible couldn't take him down alone. It took the combined efforts of Robot and literally fighting in the sun for Thrag to taste defeat for the very first time. Invincible might have started out as a hero newbie, but by the end of the story, there was no doubt that he had earned his spot as one of the most powerful Viltrumites in the universe. Sure, it might have started out with Omni-Man being able to punch him around the globe without a second thought, but Invincible's powers only grew over time, and he routinely proved himself to be able to fight the best of the best. There have been a few statements comparing his own growing power to his dad's. By the time Invincible beat the legendary Conquest, it's clear that Invincible has surpassed Omni-Man. Regardless, the hero's raw showings are the best in the entire series. Then of course there's his final fight with Thrag. When he was just 20, Invincible was able to successfully defeat Grand Regent Thrag, and even though he needed help, Mark lived for thousands of years after this. And if Invincible was this powerful, this young, and the Viltrumites just get stronger and stronger the older they get, well, Emperor Mark is surely one of the most powerful beings in comics and the strongest Viltrumite we've ever seen.